Hello and welcome to this episode of the Guides with Glasses podcast. I'm Bandito John, and I have with me No Name Josh and Wise Joey D. Hey guys.
How's it going?
Hello.
Hey, it's going great. So after fiddling with Audacity and Skype for the last 40 minutes, I think we're finally ready to record. It was like voodoo magic. I mean, we had to like pray to the rain gods, like get this working. It was like restart 8 times, but now it's working. So hooray! We'll see how the audio goes.
Hopefully, yeah. The audio comes out good. I mean, Joey D's audio sounds perfectly fine now. I don't hear a hum at all. It's crazy.
Yeah?
Don't touch that USB.
Okay, I'm not moving for the next 30 minutes.
Nobody sneeze.
God.
Oh.
So this is kind of a first for us. We all played a brand new game the first week it came out.
What?
This is awesome. What?
Yes!
Yeah. And the game was the latest episode of The Walking Dead.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was good.
So Joey D, why don't you kind of give us your early impressions of it? You go first.
Oh, I go first. Oh God. Okay. I would say creepy. It was amazing. Like the opening scene was like uber creepster with like that one line which I'll never forget, which was like, "Did it come out good, girls?"
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
Did everything come out okay?
yeah, it was like, oh! I was just like, oh my God, this is, and then it was like, walking down, and you're like, oh my God, and then you're like, okay, and it was a brilliant episode. Basically, it was like an episode full of child abuse and like mild pedophilia, and you just hated those two. There's two characters, with Tyler.
No.
Is that-
It was Troy and
Troy.
and Carver.
And Carver. Oh, just beautifully. You just hated them so much. It was brilliant. It was really, really good. So yeah, what about you? What was the overarching theme for you of this episode?
What do you think, Josh?
I felt like it was a reprieve from the sadness of the first 2 episodes, where you lose Omid, and then you lose Krista, and then you get attacked by a dog. It's just like, and then you have to kill said dog, and it's just sad all the way around.
Yeah.
And then you get attacked by a zombie, and one dude gets bit. I mean, that whole episode was just awful. And then the second episode was basically the same, just horrible things happening. You kill that poor guy, and then Walter dies. It was just devastating, and I'm like, at the end of this episode, I was like, thank God, there's some good.
Yeah.
There's some justice.
What'd you guys think about that one character that got pushed off the roof?
I felt so bad for him. I was like, this guy didn't do
I liked
anything
him.
wrong.
I thought he was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love when he pats her on the head and he's like, okay, that was weird.
Yeah.
I won't do that again.
Yeah. I thought the episode was just fantastic. I mean, just like the voice acting was great. There was some resolution at the end, but then it totally left on a major cliffhanger.
I know. I'm so pissed off about that.
Yeah. So I mean, we're totally talking about spoilers. So sorry, listeners, if you haven't played it yet. So what decisions did you guys make in that episode?
Yeah, I guess this is spoiler mania right now. So
Yeah.
I chose to watch.
Okay, so.
Yes.
Okay. Here's my thoughts on that. So I was playing a game with my wife, and I totally wanted to watch. Yeah, and then I was like, well, what would she do in this? What would Clementine do in this situation? And then I was like, oh, well, my wife is here. Maybe I'll skip it. I'll kind of like be like, oh, I'll try to be like the good little girl. And then I realized 80% of people watched it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you sick fuckers! Like everybody.
I was hoping that Clementine would have kicked him when he was like,
oh yeah,
when he was like enticing her, trying to.
Yeah. I watched it on YouTube, and it was rowdy.
Yeah, it was pretty. Dude, it's so gnarly when the eye pops. I was like, oh god.
Yeah, that was fun.
Kenny,
that was amazing. And like,
oh my god, I felt so bad when he gets his ass beat, dude. I thought he was dead.
Is there any way to change that? Because is there any way to stop that happening?
No, I don't
No,
think
I
so.
think he always gets owned. It was interesting.
Fuck.
Like also at the final couple of minutes, there's that one guy that gets shot in the nuts by that one girl,
Oh, thank God! Right?
and I was like, there's some backstory to this, and I wonder if they're gonna do it like in a DLC or something, because it was like that was also messed up.
Yeah,
there was some
amazing,
revenge.
though.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was
That
awesome.
guy is such a douche.
He deserved it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Troy, yeah, it was so amazing. And it was so dark. I think that was the thing. Like, it was about, started off dark and really disturbing, really disturbing. Basically, pedophilia. I mean, you've never played a game with pedophilia. Now you can. And it was basically like, right, bit of rape, bit of pedophilia, but it ended on that dark note. And you almost, like you said, 80% of people, you almost had to watch. It was almost like the moment when Clementine turns dark. It's a bit like the way in Wolf Among Us you have Snow White. They actually say that they specifically put Snow White into scenes to make you act nicer, or to maybe think more.
Yeah.
And this was like, now you're playing as Snow White character, but almost literally Clementine, Snow White, so innocent. But this is the moment, so much shit, and you just so fucking hated Carver.
Well, that's what's interesting is that Carver at the end is like, go ahead and watch. It's like you grew up in this world, like you're like me.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was fascinating that Carver was like, oh yeah, you're one of us, like you can see this, stay for this. And I was like, man, this is kind of true, Clementine's been brought up in this messed up world.
Yeah, did you, when you answered, when they were talking about the treehouse, he's like, it's just like climbing a treehouse. And you're like, I had a treehouse once, and they're like, see, it's easy. And she's like, I hated it.
Yeah, there was some funny moments. There was some funny writing. Did you guys, so that one girl that was helping you work in the gun area, the armory, did you guys tell her about the plan to escape or not?
Hell no, I didn't. I was like, this lady already betrayed me once.
I
I'm
know.
not doing it.
I didn't tell her either, and that was kind of a 50-50 decision, but I was like, yeah. You fucked me over.
Yeah. You got Walter killed. I liked Walter. He was such a nice guy, and you got him killed.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a little bit crazy though. I mean, he was doing everything he could to try to get back into the group, even though he probably got his arm chopped off by the group.
Well, he did because Walker bit him.
Yeah.
So he was like working, and it bit him, and then they chopped his arm off, like Clementine does in the end.
There's some Stockholm syndrome going on with him.
Oh yeah,
like he was.
Well, there is with a lot of those people. I always wonder, like in these situations, why does no one ever mutiny? Like, if this guy's killing my fellow people,
well, they have guns.
Yeah, but everybody's got guns. Like, everybody's horrified by what he does, and they all have access to weapons, and they're like, we'll just deal with it. It's like, why not try to replace him with somebody better? Kill Troy and Carver, and then just work from there.
How did you guys treat the naive girl with the glasses?
I tried to be as nice as I possibly could, but...
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
felt bad for her because it's not her fault. Her dad is the one that shielded her from all this, and...
Yeah.
I don't know. I think she might be a little mentally handicapped.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. I was nice to her, but I mean, she had a lot of times where, I mean, that was a really tough situation where she was talking when she wasn't supposed to. When she was online.
God, I was like, shut up.
Yeah, and then the dad was forced to hit her. I mean, that was intense.
Yeah, little child abuse, no big deal.
I thought it was great. I mean, but so one gripe I had is at the end where that one girl is getting her hand bitten, during this whole zombie horde. It was a very, very easy decision to say chop off the hand.
Yeah.
There was no 50-50. It was either she's going to die or she has a chance of living, And so, I mean, I think everyone voted to keep, chop off the hand.
It was 92% or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think a lot of people thought, okay, if I kill the zombie and then chop her arm off, I think that might be the 8%,
Yeah.
Somebody's like, we'll take her arm off afterwards. But I love the horrified look on her face when you first hit her. She looks at you with the widest eyes, what in the fuck? And
I mean, that is messed up, It
was brutal. I was like, holy shit, that is nuts.
Oh man, I can't wait for the next episode.
Brutality after brutality.
I know.
At that end bit, because everybody starts dying. It's fucking crazy.
Oh yeah, then when the dad got shot in the face.
No, he gets
On the
shot
neck.
he gets shot in the shoulder, falls
shoulder.
down, and they like eat him.
Oh
Or at
yeah.
least in my game. They
Oh yeah,
did.
right in front of his daughter. What?
And then she
That
starts
was messed
running
up.
into the crowd, and I'm like, oh my god. But
That girl is gonna be messed up. If she wasn't messed up before with all this situation, like, oh my god.
dude, yeah, that whole last scene was just like total bloodbath. Like,
Oh man.
they let the Troy guy get eaten after she shoots him in the dick. That was actually an interesting part. I laughed when the guy's like, "Oh my god, you shot me in the dick!"
Yeah.
He's like on the ground. I want to know that backstory so bad.
I wonder if that's gonna be the DLC.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering. Like the mid-season, like the one episode that they have. Oh man. Yeah, that was just a great episode.
Did you guys play 500 Days?
Yeah.
Did you notice like all the different characters from 500 Days that are in that little
Bonnie
Yeah.
was there, right?
Bonnie?
Yeah.
The black lady is the chick who recruits all them at the end
Yeah.
of 500 Days. I think Mike is in there and somebody else. They're all from like that series.
Did you play 500 Days, Joey? It's great. That's all there's to say. I mean, there's just so it's like $5, I think, but it's it's an episode that takes 2 hours, but it's split up into like 5 different stories. So each story is like 20 minutes or 15 minutes of gameplay or something. And sorry, my nose is stuffed, so I sound more nerdy than usual. But yeah, so they had some of these characters that were introduced in this season in 500 Days, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I really wanted to know where the kid was.
Yeah.
That one guy, yeah, I think it's really interesting that they put in these maybe subtle hints at the pedophilia stuff, because in that episode, or in 500 Days, the creepy guy picks up that boy, like he's like 13 or something, and he's kind of a creepy dude, and I don't know if that's like what they were trying to get at, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, this game has like such mature themes. I mean, it's crazy,
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, I always feel Kenny is an interesting character, and I love him. Did you guys? So like when
I love Kenny. I'm always on Kenny's side.
Yeah, when he gets up, did you guys just hug him?
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I was like, I love this guy. He's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny speaks with his brash logic, but I like it, and it's like he's the only one that wants to escape. Other people are like, oh, maybe we can make a life here, and it's like, no.
Yeah, I want the
Kenny.
hell out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, they were doing just fine at the cabin. That's what pisses me off when the guy's like, you have to live here because everywhere else is hard. And it's like, they were living at the cabin perfectly fine, and then found that ski resort living perfectly fine.
Yeah, it was a great
You're the one
environment.
who fucked it all up.
Yeah. Oh man, and then I felt so bad for Kenny when he was like getting his face pummeled.
Beaten in.
Yeah. Oh, I was like, no, Kenny.
I love how like he goes to drop the walkie-talkie into his hand, and he's like 3, and he's like, you fucker.
Yeah. Oh man, what a badass that he was like. He got his face beaten in earlier that day, and then I was like trying to escape. I mean, what a.
Well, that's what Carver tells him. You're one tough son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
That was a good episode.
Did you guys? How long did you wait to jump on Carver when you're in the warehouse?
I did it immediately.
I waited a second. I wanted to hear what he had to say.
Oh, what did he say?
When
you're climbing above him.
Yeah, at the very end. Did you listen to him at all, or did you just immediately jump? Well, I waited because he's like, before I let you go, I would shoot you in the belly to the black lady. And I was like waiting to see what happened. And then he started to pull up the gun, and I just jumped on him. I'm like, I don't want anybody to die, so I have to jump
I wonder,
on this guy.
does she die if you don't decide?
I have no idea. I didn't wait that long. I don't really like her anyway. She's such a bitch to Clementine and Kenny and stuff, and I
Well,
don't
she's
know.
had a messed up life. I mean, too.
Yeah, but she did it on her own. She created that horribleness.
Yeah.
Alvin? Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was awesome. I mean, he went down shooting.
So did you guys, hold on, that choice is interesting. Did you guys go over and try to like wake him up?
Yes.
I avoided him like the plague. I'm like, that dude's a zombie.
Oh yeah.
Fuck it. I'm going straight to this thing and I'm getting out of here. And then I'm like standing there fucking with the controls and he starts walking up from behind me. I'm like, oh god, oh god, oh god.
Oh yeah, I
oh
was
god.
worried that he was a zombie. Yeah.
And then he just like starts rummaging in the drawer. I'm like, oh thank god, he's not a zombie. And then he gets a little tiny gun.
So I think, what do you guys think about this season compared to last season? I mean, do you guys like controlling Clementine? And what do you guys think about like the storytelling? Is it more intense? Is it what's your thoughts?
I think it is more intense. Because, I mean, the other season was intense, but with Clem, you're so much more vulnerable.
Yeah.
To the zombies. I mean, with Lee, you're trying to protect Clementine, and with Clem, you're like trying to escape everything, you know?
Yeah.
You're not so much trying to fight your way out of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's present in a lot of things where, like, when she's being attacked, it's like you're just trying to run. I mean, basically just try to, like, stop the zombies. I mean, you're not putting an axe through a zombie's head, you know? Instead, you're just, like, throw a rock at him and then run.
So, I do have one more question. Sorry, I know we're getting long in the tooth on this subject, but...
That's an awesome game.
With Carver, did you guys, when he, like, says something to you, did you just, like, stare back at him instead of answer him?
I was, like, the most asshole answer I could choose. Like, every time I talked with him.
He smacks me. He smacked me for just not answering him when I just stared at him. He, like, hits me, and then he puts me inside the truck. I'm like, what the fuck? This asshole needs to die now.
Oh, yeah.
Hitting Clem. Nah.
Can't wait for the next episode.
I can't wait either. Are they going to release Wolf Among Us this month?
I'm not sure.
I thought they were going to try to do it every other month so that...
I covered up my ears when you guys were talking about Wolf Among Us, but I got caught up, and it's enjoyable, but I don't like it as much as Walking Dead.
Yep, neither does Cassie.
And I was really, really, really upset when they brought back Snow White.
She was upset about that too. She's like, "That's bullshit."
Yeah, this is like Deus Ex Machina stuff. It's like, what the hell? Like, don't do this. It kind of turned me off from the show. I mean, I bought a season pass. I'm still interested in playing the rest of the episodes, but yeah, I mean, for that part, it's like it just really distanced me from the story.
I think it was a bit of a... It felt a bit like... It just was a bit of a switcheroo, which... I was just really confusing.
Yeah.
I was just like, what's happening now? Yeah,
they didn't really explain it. They're just like, oh, there's some magic stuff, and there was somebody else that was like, looked like her.
But do you know what?
Really?
Yeah.
See, this is why, guys, I was so pissed off, because I totally, like, from my point of view, it was all the resources was going to the poster child that is Walking Dead, and Borderlands is going to come out soon as well. And it took away...
And Game of Thrones, yeah.
And oh my god. See, that's the thing. Episode 2 suffered a massive rewrite. Something happened, and it really took away from it.
Yeah.
And I think episode 3 got back on track. Obviously, it's never going to go quite as... I don't think it can go quite as dark as Walking Dead, but I think it was very good. I think this episode of Walking Dead is obviously a much more complex, much more dramatic...
Yeah.
And version of the episode 3 of Wolf Among Us, which almost ends in the same kind of way. It kind of has the same violency, unsettling kind of thing, but this took it to this seriously was like, a game. This is like I'm trying to think. This is like Captain America 2 versus Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's like they're both good, but you can see one of them was like amazing. Like one of them just was the same thing, a sequel, but just going to be looked at for years to come because it was amazing. Versus one which is like, it's okay.
Yeah, no,
to
totally
me, I
agree.
Felt like Wolf Among Us isn't willing to take like those really heavy moments, I guess. Like just killing off people. Like they seem to avoid doing that kind of stuff, you know.
And
difficult.
and I think that's kind of the charm. Is that the right word of the story? Is that like kind of the excitement is that like none of these characters are safe. The only one in Walking Dead I know that's gonna live is Clementine. Because I know that we're gonna play with her at least for I don't know, at least this episode until the very end. In Wolf Among Us, I mean, it's only like one baddie that's died, or two baddies, and so. I mean, there's been a few characters that have died, but they're not so close to you. You haven't developed like those strong relationships like you have in Walking Dead.
Like I think that's why like bringing back White was just a bad idea all the way around.
Well, it was just rushed. I mean, it literally is a definition of rushed. In the first 3 minutes or first 5 minutes, boom, she's back. And you're like, what is this? And because it's a game about magic and identities, you're like. I was like, oh, is she? This has to be a imposter.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It was right. They actually turned out it was actually the one who died was the imposter, which
but
was really
but then the imposter, it's like, oh well, is the imposter a person I care about? And you're like, no, the imposter is somebody that I have no interest in caring about at all. Like this tertiary character that's like the sister of somebody that I don't care about. So it's like, there's no vested interest in that person that died for the sake of Snow.
I don't know. I think it depends. I still care. I think it's really about seeing Bigby's sort of reaction to this, because you're kind of, I think really it's about trying to make him be a good. I don't know. I'm trying to almost redeem him.
Yeah,
a weird thing.
I totally agree with that. But I think that's also a challenge because it's like with Clementine, like I feel like I can be my own person with Clementine when I play with her. Well, with Bigby, it's like you have an objective to try to be nice because Snow is right there. And when Snow wasn't there, I was like, all right, I can be like an angry asshole when it's appropriate. Yeah, and then like I think at the end, you have a choice between like killing Tweedledee or Tweedledum and or not, and I was like, fuck him, like he's so dead. Like no, that was like an easy decision for me, but then it's like, well, there's gonna be some aftermath with Snow, but like
I actually, you know what, I played it again and I was a bit disturbed by one of the, I didn't kill Tweedledum because I was like, at that point I felt we're powered in, there's no need to go, and you owned him and it was fine. I want to kill fucking Bloody Mary.
Oh yeah, she was awesome.
But
yeah,
she was. That was brilliant.
Yeah,
she was brilliant. And that's the thing. Like it was kind of like the Troy and Carver characters were kind of like she can sort of stand beside them in terms of just being a truly amazing antagonist.
Yeah.
But there's one decision in that which I played because I've got two files in Wolf Among Us. I've got the file I play what I want to play. The other file I play just to see, to sort of see how. But I played the one and I burnt the witch's tree, and it was like, God, like it was so like I felt so bad.
Oh yeah, what happened with that?
I felt it haunted me because I was just like, because she just was like, you've I've got nothing left because her daughter's dead and now her tree's gone, and you just are such an ass. It was like, whoa. I
wanted to do that too, but I decided to save her tree in my save file. But
I saved. Oh no, my
normal one,
Alpha universe. Yeah, it's saved, but in the J.J. Abrams universe where everything's different, then yes, it's gone. But I felt so. That stuck with me actually. It actually stuck with me more than most decisions I've made, even in Walking Dead. That was a weird thing. It can go fucked up, but it does it rarely. I think it is after all like kind of a comic book character game, or a little bit more younger, but still, actually, how could it be younger? They're all swearing like sailors.
Does Wolf Among Us, does it follow the comic book?
Well, it's a prequel, so they're kind of hands tied with regards to who they can and can't kill. Which spoiler, Snow White. That's why Snow White was like had to come back, because apparently I haven't read any spoilers except that when she came back, people are like, yeah, that had to happen because she's in the comics.
So that sucks, because then it's like, in The Walking Dead, it's like there's a whole new universe. Like, you can do whatever the hell you want. Yeah. And I think if that was the case in terms of with Snow White, have Snow White as another character and instead have someone else that you're close with and then kill her off, Like, it doesn't, I mean, I don't know.
So,
I think in my next I think in my next playthroughs, I'm just gonna be an asshole. Whatever. I'm Big B. I can take you all on.
All right. How about this? We're moving on.
Yes.
Yes.
Big news. Xbox One without the
yeah.
Kinect.
Yeah.
Discuss.
I was like, I mean, because okay, you're Microsoft guy, so you're gonna have. I want to hear all your thoughts. You can have very deep, insightful thoughts. All I thought was, huh? Like what? I almost had to remember. Oh my god, that's right. They don't sell it without it. And then I was like, so they've done two things, which basically everyone on the internet's gone. Why didn't you do that in the first place? Not sell with Kinect and the gold membership.
Yep.
And it's unlike every other thing that actually this is very good, a nice turning of the tide. Unlike all the other decisions, this is one which everyone's like, yes, finally. So that's telling. The fact there was no outcry, the fact it was just very silent, great. That tells you that it should have been done a long time ago.
So
there was like no hate going on. I didn't.
I did see a lot of hate. Well, not about the gold stuff because I mean that makes a lot of sense, but for debundling Kinect, I did see a lot of hate, and you'll see it a lot on the fan forums of on the Xbox One subreddit, which is popular. I mean, it's not as popular as like Kotaku
they're
in general.
All pissed because they bought it early and it's got.
But there's also a big factor here. Thinking about like from a game developer point of view, is that there was a few developers like Harmonix and stuff that were making Kinect titles, like a Dance Central type game and stuff, and it was a huge thing that Kinects were going to be bundled with every console, and they've been selling that as their go-to slogan here for the past year, and now they're not. And so those game developers are now being screwed over. They were notified, that day, just like everyone else. And then there's people that they think there was potential for cool Kinect games in the future, and those are now going to be lost because people aren't going to develop games for them anymore.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
I don't. Well, you know what? Maybe you should have launched a freaking good Kinect title. That might have helped, like people
I don't know why Titanfall
okay,
didn't have like tight Kinect integration. Like that would have been awesome.
It drives me nuts. It's like, okay, well, obviously, Harmonix should have been working. It should have released a good game as soon as that launched to solidify the use of the Kinect. Like,
a selling feature for it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is our future, and this is how we're gonna work it, and it's awesome. But no, they're like, we're gonna diddle daddle on it and wait until fall of freaking the year after it's launched. So
yeah, I mean,
that's your own fault.
I'm not surprised that this decision happened. I was expecting it. I mean, it made a lot of sense. PS4 sales have been doing really good, and Xbox One sales are trailing in that, and they needed to be price competitive. And this was the big thing. Although it sucks because for weeks there was a sale going on where you could get Titanfall and the bundle for $450. And Titanfall is a great game, and I think it's totally worth $60. And so if you do the math there, if you were thinking about buying Titanfall anyway, it was at or a little bit cheaper than a PS4, and you were getting a Kinect.
Yeah.
I think they should have just made that the standard price. Like you get Titanfall and you get that, or you get, I don't know, like 1 year of Xbox Live, Titanfall for $450. I think that would have been a big selling feature, but at the end of the day, consumers were just looking at what was on a store shelf, and the store shelf was $500 on a normal day, and $400 versus PS4, and people just weren't buying it. So I think this was good for consumers, but I understand why it happens. Yeah, but it's I don't know.
To me, it's no surprise. PlayStation's been like doubling the sales of Xbox just everywhere.
Yeah.
It's the same. So you know what we did? We did the same thing that Sony did last generation.
Yeah.
We're like, the $100 won't make a difference.
Sony came out with
like,
a $600 console. Was PS4 when it first came out.
PS3.
Sorry, PS3. Yeah. Yeah, and then they dropped down the price like crazy, and they had to like remove chips, the PS2 emulation and everything out of that.
Yep.
And and I mean, it wasn't until the very, kind of like the last 2-3 years of the console life cycle that it started really catching up and doing great, and that's where it hit its stride, and you had Last of Us, and you had Uncharted that were coming out that were great and stuff. So, Yeah, I'm glad that Microsoft reacted, but I think that for all of the changes that have happened, I mean, it's just been like everything has just been a reversal.
Yep.
Mm.
And I think,
I don't know. I on one hand, I'm like, you probably should have stuck to what your guns were on this thing. But the other side of it, I go, there's no way to stay competitive if you're going to be $100 more.
yeah.
And not have any decent titles out for the Kinect. And have horrible integration. Half the time, my Kinect doesn't even recognize me when I'm standing in front, like, to log in. I have it set up for that. And I have to tell it to log me in. And it's like, really? This is the way we're going to do it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I get upset with the way Microsoft has handled certain things is obnoxious.
Well, I'm glad that they're listening to customer perception, and
Yeah.
a part of that, I think, is coming down with people voting on their dollars,
Yep.
and it's sales. I mean, like, if people were very vocal but sales were great, they wouldn't have changed this policy.
But what are people playing on the PS4?
Well, they're playing what's that one game based in Seattle?
Oh, Infamous?
Yeah, that's
But-
a big.
To me, I'm like, is that really that big of a draw? Like, I feel like Titanfall is a way huge draw.
Well, I think it's also just part of like having a new console, and people just they just want to be prepared and.
I don't want to sound like a dick, but I'm waiting until either something from Naughty Dog comes out or Below comes out.
I'm pissed off because, and this was very old news that I just was not aware of. Transistor is going to be on PS4 and not on Xbox One.
That actually is maybe another reason why I'll get a PS4.
The spiritual sequel to Bastion.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it. Yeah, Transistor,
Wow.
their new game that's coming out next
Wow.
week is going to be on. It's not coming out on. Is it coming out on PS3? I don't think so.
I don't know.
It's PS4
Oh.
and Steam, I know. So, sad days. I mean, they got paid a lot of money to make it exclusive. So, I mean, that's...
Yeah.
But I'm like, shit. Being in the Xbox camp. This is why I'm thinking about going down to Portland to go buy a...
I know, same here.
To go buy a
that
console.
Sounds like a great
But,
idea.
Joey, going back to your point, how do you feel about this, the gold requirement being dropped?
Oh, it's brilliant. It should have been done first. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's because I was using my PS3 a lot then because I wanted to use
sweet.
Netflix and BBC iPlayer.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do that with. Well, I could use the Xbox actually for iPlayer because what's interesting is that here it was a stipulation, and this is annoying actually. This is very interesting. Little tidbit for the American audience is that actually this was already being done in the UK for the BBC iPlayer because by law we have to pay for if you own a TV and you watch live broadcasts through the antenna or whatever, cable and satellite. But if you just watch live TV, then you have to pay. It's kind of like a tax basically, and but anyway, once you pay the tax, then you get the access. But then people complain, it's like, well, I've paid my tax, but I can't watch BBC on.
Because
my
you have to pay
Xbox,
for
so
gold.
yeah, so basically Microsoft programmed it so that only iPlayer could get around that. So it just went to show people here, it's like, yeah, they could do that at a drop of a hat, but they choose not to, and then finally they have dropped that
Yeah.
that guard around all the other apps as well. But it was interesting, we kind of got a preview of that here, because I could watch iPlayer, but that was it. That was just iPlayer. So I used my PS3 because I could watch Netflix, iPlayer. There's channel 4. There's a channel here which has it, and it just got pushed aside because it was like, I'm not going to just use it for, it's about time.
Do you have Xbox Live?
Gold? No, actually.
Yeah,
I do not.
I think for me and Josh, I mean, we've been having it for years, and it's just something that, like, we pay for. So it didn't affect us, but there is a lot of people, I think, that are out in your shoes, like, they use their box for just a lot of streaming, and it's bullshit that you had to pay, $3 a month or $5 a month for that functionality.
And but I think it sort of is a gateway. it's like a gateway drug for all the for more gold memberships, because if you actually have it, it kind of works like with the PS3.
Yeah.
After all these years, I'm actually kind of like, PlayStation Plus. Like kind
Oh
of-
yeah, with their free
it's sort of-
games and stuff. Yeah.
it just sort of teases you in, and I think it's a stupid thing that they were kind of like they were holding everything to ransom. I think they should have teased it in a bit more, and then it'd have been much more, enticing. I think. In a better way.
So, this is what drives me nuts about the difference. And when I get a PS4, maybe I'll get PSN instead of having my Xbox Live account, depending on, multiplayer games and where my friends are going to be playing on. But PSN, you get actual good games.
Yeah.
Your free games. Like,
Yeah.
Next month we're
wow.
getting Spartan Assault, which is like a $5 game on
And all the
Windows
games,
8
and a blessing because all the games are like made by Microsoft, and there's like a lot of great third-party titles, and PlayStation Network gets those titles, and we don't. We just
Yeah.
get a lot of like the Microsoft made ones that are like 4 years old, and you're like, okay, whatever.
More than that,
They also-
the Halo 3 was given away, and
Oh, yeah.
Deadlight, and those two were, I think, released in like 2007 or 2008. It's like
They were good games when they
wow.
came out, but they're not modern games, like PlayStation Network's getting good titles that came out in the fall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And they have sales on. They have the PlayStation Store has an amazing sale on in Europe at the moment. Oh, I should actually. Ooh, I need to buy stuff. But basically, but the thing is that not only is that sale cool, but then if you have a PS Plus, you get more money off it anyway. You get like £2 or £3 off it. It's like what? So
Yeah.
Microsoft's
it's-
going to start doing that, thank God. Like,
Yeah.
Are they good?
Yeah.
Good. See, that's what you have to do because it's been it's amazing on the PlayStation. It's just like what?
Yeah. I mean, they really need to take like the Steam model and have like these 90% off flash sales,
Yeah, like
and-
midweek madness kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just sell like some of these old games, for a few bucks, and I mean, you'll get a huge uptick in sales, and users, and
Well, that's the thing. I got Dead Space 3 for £6.
oh,
which is-
great, yeah,
It's ridiculous. Like it was. I mean, what's that? $9.
$10?
Yeah.
It's like what? Like they just dropped it at Christmas time. It was like, yes, please.
what a great Christmas gift during the holidays, killing alien zombies.
present to me. Yay. Nightmares for me, please.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. E3 is going to be coming up in a few weeks, and I'm excited to see those things. It's interesting that they announced this stuff before E3. I wonder if these announcements, they just kind of wanted to get this by the wayside to focus on the games at E3, or did they kind of want to get it off like any negative news about sales and to try to keep some Xbox news and stuff, because I mean both of these are pretty big announcements, things that a lot of consumers would have been happy about, but they chose to announce it early.
Yeah, that's actually because I don't know. I mean, it hopefully gives a good bit of momentum, but in a way, it almost is no momentum because that's kind of what I was saying. Like for me and other people, and the way it was covered, it was like, because it was like, and you've finally done this, yes,
Yeah.
thank you. It wasn't like I think they're actually wise to not have used that on E3 because otherwise people would have just gone, what really? That's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess hopefully that does mean that there's some bigger, cooler stuff coming out in E3 then.
I'm excited. Probably some
There's
Halo
new-
news.
New Gears of War. What?
Oh, they're going to announce
really?
a new one?
I think so. I think they're going to announce a new one because Microsoft owns it now.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been a game out that's decent. I mean,
In like 3 years.
yeah. So I mean,
Judgment
I
sucked.
think that's something that they're going to do. Judgment was a misstep.
Yeah. A lot of
I don't know where
exciting.
you go though, because the end of 3 was just the end. You know what I mean?
They get new characters. I don't
Although
know, new
maybe
planet.
the worst ending I've ever played in a game was 3.
I never play those
Really?
titles for the storyline. I just play them to kill stuff.
Well, I know, I understand, and to be honest, I liked 3 the best, like the atmosphere and the mood
Yeah.
of the game, but the ending was just, like, they were just like, we're going to cop out and make it just happy fun times at the very end.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
everything goes back to normal, and it's just like, that was such a, I don't know. That and Mass Effect are the 2 worst endings
Oh, well,
I've
we
ever
can save
played.
that for next week because we can go on a whole soapbox about game endings. I know Josh's getting onto this subject.
We won't talk about it because we already had like a couple episodes where I've complained about this. But yeah,
Yeah. Well.
So over the next tomorrow and the next day, we'll have. Oh, actually, tomorrow we'll have probably the podcast up or Super Time Force review.
Ooh.
Because
that's
that
cool.
game is awesome, good craziness. And let's see. Then the podcast, then Walking Dead.
Sounds good.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I just have all those lined up, and I am going to figure out where they fit in the week.
Nice.
Well,
Nice.
I think on that note, I think that concludes this episode of the Guys with Glasses podcast.
Are you Bandito John?
I am Bandito John. I was gonna see if we could do something different, but yeah.
You have to prove your bandito-ness. What are you doing to prove you? Are you doing highway robberies or?
You know, the name actually came from Red Dead Redemption, where that was a nickname that Josh gave me. Where I was like a little bandito, like riding on a donkey because I wasn't leveled up enough to have a cool horse.
Yeah, he was like, "This is the greatest character ever. You never get to play a fat guy."
Yeah, it was
Just
awesome.
a fat Mexican guy riding a little
I
tiny
felt
donkey.
bad for the donkey, but yeah, it was
It was
amazing.
hilarious, and he had the huge sombrero on. It
So
was
that
just,
yeah, that's been my name. Yeah, I don't do any banditoing. Yeah.
unless it's Maggie's food.
Yeah, I do steal my wife's food, yes. All right, well, that's Bandito John.
No name Josh.
And why should we?
Signing
See you
off.
guys later.
Bye. See ya.